Hi, I'm Jason Gorber here at the Los Cabos International Film Festival. I'm here to talk about a Canadian film, actually, that premiered in Vancouver. It did not play the Toronto International Film Festival, so I had a chance to see it here in Mexico. A film called Ash. It's directed by Andrew Huculiak. I want to make sure that I got his name right. It's starring Tim Guinea and Sheila Horstal. Let's get this out of the way. It's a film about a pedophile. And that's a film that's certainly going to divide audiences. What I will say about Ash is I think it's a better idea than a film. I think that the execution visually is quite extraordinary. I'm not sure the performances are quite what we want from this in order for us to fully empathize with the situation. It's going to be a really hard film for a lot of people to see because of its subject matter. And it's one of these things that it's a film about injecting nuance, which is something that obviously I'm not only a big proponent of, because when you watch so many films, you actually want films that actually engage with you on an adult level, but it just doesn't quite, for lack of a better word, stick the landing. Visually, it's quite extraordinary. It was actually shot in around actual forest fires that were taking place in BC, so that there's this haunting sense of both loneliness and despair that takes place visually. The way that the actual landscape itself feels that it's reacting to the circumstances that are playing out. We sort of lead on this sort of hapless, OCD, very neurotic online journalist. Obviously, for those of you out there, you can attest about how much that actually corresponds with most of the people who do what I do for a living. But this journalist who's there to actually speak to his community and actually tell the story as it is, he gets caught up in a police sting. Now, the way that it plays out, it deals with, again, elements of subtlety. It's like you may be asking yourself, how can you be subtle about something as abhorrent, as socially repulsive as child porn? The film actually engages with it. It's one of the most interesting and most intellectually, for lack of a better word, intellectually brave moments that the film actually takes place. But in order for that to happen, you have to sort of not necessarily go along with who the lead character is. You certainly don't have to live in his skin, as it were, but you have to be drawn into the performance. And I just felt, unfortunately, the performances from husband and wife just didn't connect. I mean, it felt forced. It felt almost stagey. It felt like they were going out of their way to make us feel certain things at other moments that weren't warranted. And then when the bigger moments were meant to occur, the resolutions occurred almost too rapidly. It's a really, really hard thing to pull off. And again, I've gone on about this before, but nothing pleases me more than a film that sort of, by any rights, should absolutely fail and manages to sort of up at a level. Unfortunately, this film goes for it. Absolutely shows this ambition. It shows this tenacity. It shows that it's unafraid to actually engage with issues which are truly dividing of audiences. For intellectual reasons, I found it very, very interesting that this is the direction that they wanted to go, the story that they wanted to tell. Unfortunately, I think that it just doesn't come together. It doesn't feel like it lands where it wants to. And because the stakes are so high, because this moral sort of quagmire is so deep, its failure on that front feels all the more distressing. I think it is, there are elements there to actually draw from. I think that there, somewhere in there, is this story to be told. The whole sort of division between what's morally right and some of the our understanding of the frailty of humanity, about what counts as something that is simply unforgivable versus things that through humanity we can actually understand the frailties and the elements whereby a character could actually be drawn into something that, frankly, was as portrayed in the film, outside of their actual recognition of the ramifications of what they're actually going to deal with. This is a very guilt-ridden film. It's very much a film about not a form of redemption, but a form of understanding and the collision of all these. And because of that, I just really wanted to actually have this film live up to the ambitions of what presented. Unfortunately, it didn't. But still, to showcase this film here at Los Cabos, I think is very fascinating. The audience that I was at was actually very, very engaged with it, an international audience. Probably responded to it better than I did. Actually found very interesting, given some of the history of abuse and other aspects that actually take place in cultures all over the world. It was fascinating to actually see that play out. Again, visually quite extraordinary. The core of the story, ambitious and bold. The execution just didn't live up to what I wanted it to be. So that's Ash, one of the more, for lack of a word, distressing films that you're likely to see, but one that shows a great deal of promise that doesn't, in the end, fulfill it. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber here at the Los Cabos International Film Festival. Please follow us on Twitter at thatshelf. Follow us on Instagram. Like us on Facebook. Do all the social stuff. It really helps us out. Leave some comments here on the YouTube channel. And let me know if you managed to see this film. I'd love to know your response to it, because this is very much a film at its best. It's going to engage in conversation, and it would be fascinating to hear from people that actually took the time to see the film and to see what they actually thought of it. All the best.